They lit up movie screens before they ever had the chance to grow old. Some died at just 23 or 24, while others were gone before turning 40. Yet the saddest part of their stories didn't end with their final breath. Today, their resting places tell a different chapter: hidden graves, quiet crypts, forgotten memorials, and haunting reminders of lives cut painfully short. In this video, we'll visit the final resting places of 15 Hollywood stars whose brilliant careers ended far too soon, and discover why the places they left behind can be just as heartbreaking as the lives they lived. Number 1. Natalie Wood. For more than 4 decades, one question has lingered over Natalie Wood's name. What really happened on the night she disappeared into the dark waters off Catalina Island? While the mystery continues to fascinate investigators and fans alike, her final resting place tells a much quieter story. Natalie Wood was one of Hollywood's brightest child stars before growing into an Academy Award-nominated actress. From Miracle on 34th Street to Rebel Without a Cause, West Side Story, and Splendor in the Grass, she became one of the defining faces of American cinema. By her early 40s, she had already built a career that many actors spend a lifetime chasing. Everything changed over Thanksgiving weekend in 1981. While spending time aboard her yacht Splendor near California's Catalina Island, Natalie disappeared overnight. She was found the next morning, just 43 years old. Although her death was initially ruled an accident, later reviews led officials to amend the cause of death to drowning and other undetermined factors, leaving important questions unanswered. Today, Natalie Wood rests at Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles, surrounded by many of Hollywood's biggest legends. Her grave is elegant yet understated, offering little hint that it belongs to one of the industry's most beloved stars. Visitors often leave fresh flowers and quiet tributes, but no memorial can answer the mystery that has followed her for decades. Perhaps that's what makes her final resting place so heartbreaking. Unlike many Hollywood tragedies, Natalie's story has never found a true ending. Her grave marks where she was finally laid to rest, but not where the questions stopped. Even now, visitors leave knowing exactly where Natalie Wood rests, while the truth about her final night remains just beyond reach. Number 2. River Phoenix. Long before his career reached its peak, River Phoenix became one of Hollywood's most admired young actors. Today, however, there is no public grave where fans can quietly stand and remember him. That absence has become one of the saddest parts of his legacy. River captured audiences with unforgettable performances in Stand By Me, Running on Empty, and My Own Private Idaho. Critics praised not only his natural talent but also the emotional honesty he brought to every role. By his early 20s, many believed he would become one of the defining actors of his generation. Everything changed on October 31, 1993. After collapsing outside the Viper Room in West Hollywood, River died from acute combined drug intoxication. He was only 23 years old. The tragedy shocked Hollywood, leaving behind a career filled with promise rather than completion. Unlike many legendary stars, River was never laid to rest in a public cemetery. He was cremated, and his family chose to keep the final disposition of his ashes private. As a result, there is no confirmed public resting place where admirers can leave flowers or pay their respects. Instead, many still visit the sidewalk outside the Viper Room, the location forever connected to his final moments rather than the place where he truly rests. Perhaps that's what makes River Phoenix's final resting place so heartbreaking. His films continue to inspire new generations, but the actor himself has no public grave to tell the final chapter of his story. For someone whose life touched millions, his last resting place remains known only to the people who loved him most. Number 3. Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate's grave carries 2 names instead of 1. Alongside the actress is the name of her unborn son, a heartbreaking reminder that 2 lives were lost on the same night. By the late 1960s, Sharon Tate had become one of Hollywood's brightest rising stars. Her beauty and screen presence earned her roles in films like Valley of the Dolls and The Fearless Vampire Killers. At just 26 years old, she appeared to have a long career ahead of her and was expecting her first child with director Roman Polanski. Everything changed on the night of August 8, 1969. Sharon, who was more than 8 months pregnant, was murdered at her Los Angeles home by members of the Manson family. The shocking crime horrified the nation and forever became one of Hollywood's darkest tragedies. She was laid to rest at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California. At the request of her family, her unborn son, named Paul Richard Polanski, was buried in her arms. His name is engraved alongside hers, making the grave unlike almost any other in Hollywood. Visitors still leave flowers, letters, and small keepsakes, remembering not only the actress the world lost, but also the child who never had the chance to be born. Perhaps that's what makes Sharon Tate's final resting place so heartbreaking. It isn't simply the grave of a young Hollywood star whose future was stolen. It is also the resting place of a mother and the son she never got to meet, preserving one of the most tragic chapters in Hollywood history in a single, quiet memorial. Number 4. John Belushi. John Belushi's name appears on a gravestone in Martha's Vineyard, but that isn't where he was ultimately laid to rest. His family quietly moved his remains after fans began treating the grave as a party site, turning a place of mourning into a place of celebration. Belushi became one of the biggest comedy stars of the 1970s through Saturday Night Live, National Lampoon's Animal House, and the Blues Brothers. His explosive energy and unforgettable characters made him one of Hollywood's most beloved performers. Behind the laughter, however, he struggled with heavy drug use that gradually took control of his life. On March 5, 1982, John Belushi died at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles from an overdose of cocaine and heroin. He was only 33 years old. His sudden death shocked the entertainment world and became one of Hollywood's most tragic cautionary tales. Belushi was first buried at Abel's Hill Cemetery in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. But in the months that followed, visitors began leaving beer cans, liquor bottles, and other party items at his grave. Concerned that the site had become a spectacle rather than a place of respect, his family quietly moved his remains to an unmarked location within the same cemetery. The original gravestone was left behind as a memorial, while his actual burial place remains private. Perhaps that's what makes John Belushi's final resting place so heartbreaking. Even after death, his family couldn't give him the peaceful farewell they had hoped for. The man who spent his life making millions laugh now rests in a place known only to those closest to him, while the gravestone most visitors see is no longer where he truly lies. Number 5. Judy Garland. Judy Garland spent her life searching for a place where she truly belonged. Strangely, even after her death, her final resting place wouldn't become permanent for nearly half a century. As the unforgettable star of The Wizard of Oz, Garland became one of Hollywood's greatest entertainers. Her extraordinary voice and emotional performances earned her worldwide fame, but behind the applause were years of relentless studio pressure, health problems, and dependence on prescription medication that began while she was still a teenager. Although she remained a beloved performer throughout her career, the personal struggles behind the spotlight never truly disappeared. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland died in London from an accidental overdose of barbiturates. She was just 47 years old. Her death stunned fans around the world, coming only months before thousands would gather to honor her legacy and celebrate the remarkable career that had inspired generations of audiences. Garland was originally buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in New York, but in 2017, nearly 48 years after her death, her family fulfilled a long-held wish by moving her remains across the country to Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. Today, she rests among many of the stars who shaped the history of American film, and her elegant memorial is often decorated with fresh flowers, handwritten notes, and small tributes left by devoted admirers. Perhaps that's what makes Judy Garland's final resting place so touching. The little girl who once sang about finding somewhere over the rainbow spent decades resting far from Hollywood before finally returning home. Even in death, her journey wasn't over until she found a place among the legends whose lives she helped define, making her final resting place as emotional as the extraordinary story that led her there. Number 6. Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy's grave marks the end of a life that ended far too soon, but it never put an end to the questions surrounding her death. More than 15 years later, her final days remain one of Hollywood's most talked-about tragedies. With memorable performances in Clueless, Girl, Interrupted, 8 Mile, and Just Married, Brittany became one of the most recognizable actresses of her generation. Her warmth, humor, and unmistakable voice made her a favorite with audiences. Although her career slowed during her final years, few imagined her life was nearing its end. On December 20, 2009, Brittany Murphy collapsed at her Los Angeles home and died at just 32 years old. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death an accident caused by pneumonia, iron deficiency anemia, and multiple prescription medications. Yet the tragedy took an even stranger turn when her husband, Simon Monjack, died in the same house only 5 months later from similar medical causes. The shocking coincidence fueled years of speculation, even though no official investigation found evidence of foul play. Today, Brittany rests at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills, California. Her grave is quiet and understated, far removed from the bright Hollywood image that once made her a rising star. Visitors occasionally leave flowers and heartfelt messages, remembering an actress whose kindness was often praised by those who worked with her. Perhaps that's what makes Brittany Murphy's final resting place so heartbreaking. The official investigation closed the case years ago, but the unanswered questions never completely disappeared. Her grave offers a place of peace, yet for many fans it also marks one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries about a gifted actress whose life ended far too soon. Number 7. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee spent much of his life trying to step out of his father's shadow. Tragically, he would forever be remembered not only for his own talent, but also for dying before his greatest role ever reached audiences. The son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, Brandon worked hard to build a career on his own terms. After appearing in several action films, he landed the lead role in The Crow, a dark fantasy that many believed would make him a major Hollywood star. At just 28 years old, his future seemed brighter than ever. Everything changed on March 31, 1993. During the filming of The Crow, Brandon was accidentally shot by a prop gun that had been improperly prepared. Despite emergency surgery, he died later that day. The tragedy shocked Hollywood and led to major changes in firearm safety procedures on movie sets. The Crow was eventually completed using special effects and released as a tribute to his memory. Today, Brandon Lee rests beside his father, Bruce Lee, at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle, Washington. Their graves overlook a peaceful lake and have become one of the most visited celebrity memorials in the United States. Fans from around the world leave flowers, letters, martial arts medals, and small tokens of appreciation, honoring 2 generations whose lives ended far too soon. Perhaps that's what makes Brandon Lee's final resting place so heartbreaking. He spent years creating his own identity, determined to be recognized as more than Bruce Lee's son. Yet in death, father and son were reunited forever, their graves side by side as a powerful reminder that both extraordinary careers were cut tragically short before either man had the chance to reach his full potential. Number 8. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield built her career on glamour, flashing cameras, and larger-than-life publicity, yet her final resting place is surprisingly quiet, far from the bright lights that once made her one of Hollywood's biggest stars. During the 1950s and early 1960s, Mansfield became one of America's most recognizable actresses and sex symbols, known for films like The Girl Can't Help It and Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. She was often compared to Marilyn Monroe. While her public image attracted enormous attention, it also overshadowed her talent, making it difficult for Hollywood to see her as more than a glamorous blonde. On June 29, 1967, Jayne Mansfield was killed in a devastating car accident near New Orleans. She was only 34 years old. The shocking crash claimed the lives of 2 other adults, while 3 of her young children, including future actress Mariska Hargitay, survived with injuries. The tragedy made headlines across the country and remains one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking losses. Today, Mansfield rests at Fairview Cemetery in Pen Argyl, Pennsylvania, near her family rather than in Hollywood. Her grave is marked by a distinctive heart-shaped monument that immediately stands out among the surrounding headstones. Visitors still leave flowers, photographs, and small tokens of remembrance, honoring a woman whose public image often hid the person she truly was. Perhaps that's what makes Jayne Mansfield's final resting place so touching. One of Hollywood's brightest stars ended her journey not beneath a grand monument in Los Angeles, but in a quiet hometown cemetery. The simple heart-shaped memorial reflects the woman behind the celebrity, reminding visitors that beneath the glamour was a mother, a daughter, and a life cut tragically short at just 34 years old. Number 9. Anton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin wasn't remembered for a scandal or a mystery. He was remembered for the future he never had. At just 27 years old, one of Hollywood's brightest young actors was gone in a tragic accident that no one saw coming. Born in Russia and raised in the United States, Anton built an impressive career from childhood. He earned praise for films such as Like Crazy, Green Room, and Charlie Bartlett, while reaching global audiences as Pavel Chekhov in the modern Star Trek series. Friends and directors often described him as humble, intelligent, and completely devoted to his craft. Many believed his greatest performances were still ahead of him. On June 19, 2016, Anton was killed in a freak accident outside his Los Angeles home when his Jeep rolled backward and pinned him against a brick pillar and security gate. He was only 27 years old. The tragedy shocked the film industry, and the vehicle model was later recalled because of concerns involving its electronic gear selector. Today, Anton Yelchin rests at Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. Unlike many celebrity graves, his memorial is marked by a life-sized bronze statue that captures him standing naturally with a gentle smile, as if he were welcoming visitors rather than saying goodbye. Fans regularly leave flowers, handwritten notes, film tickets, and small Star Trek memorabilia at the base of the sculpture. Perhaps that's what makes Anton Yelchin's final resting place so heartbreaking. Most memorials remind visitors of someone who has passed away. His does the opposite. The statue makes him look remarkably alive, preserving the image of a young actor whose career had barely begun. It stands as a powerful reminder not of everything Anton accomplished, but of everything the world never had the chance to see. Number 10. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow became one of Hollywood's brightest stars almost overnight. Yet the woman known around the world as the blonde bombshell died so suddenly that many fans refused to believe she was really gone. With films like Red Dust, Dinner at 8, Bombshell, and Libeled Lady, Harlow helped define the glamorous image of Hollywood in the 1930s. Her platinum blonde hair, sharp wit, and magnetic screen presence made her one of MGM's biggest attractions. At only 26 years old, she had already become one of the studio's most valuable stars, and her future seemed limitless. In 1937, while filming Saratoga with Clark Gable, Harlow's health rapidly deteriorated. She was suffering from kidney failure, although the seriousness of her condition was not fully understood until it was too late. On June 7, 1937, she died at just 26 years old. Her sudden passing shocked both Hollywood and millions of moviegoers, leaving one of the year's biggest films to be completed without her. Today, Jean Harlow rests inside the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Rather than a traditional outdoor grave, she lies in a private crypt purchased by actor William Powell, the man she had planned to marry. Above the crypt is a simple but deeply personal inscription, "Our Baby." Those two words have become one of the most touching epitaphs in Hollywood history, revealing a side of Harlow that the glamorous headlines never could. Perhaps that's what makes Jean Harlow's final resting place so heartbreaking. The woman the world remembered as a dazzling movie star is honored not with a grand monument, but with a quiet message from the man who loved her. More than 80 years later, those two simple words continue to speak louder than any Hollywood spotlight ever could. Number 11. Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge broke one of Hollywood's greatest barriers, but her extraordinary achievement didn't guarantee a happy ending. The first black woman ever nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress died at just 42, long before the industry truly recognized her legacy. Her breakthrough came with Carmen Jones in 1954, making her an international star and a symbol of change in American cinema. Yet, despite her talent and success, meaningful leading roles remained scarce. As career opportunities declined, personal and financial struggles gradually overshadowed the promise that had once seemed limitless. On September 8, 1965, Dorothy Dandridge was found dead in her West Hollywood apartment. She was only 42 years old. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death an accidental overdose of the antidepressant imipramine, bringing a tragic end to a life that had helped reshape Hollywood history. Today, Dorothy rests at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, inside the Freedom Mausoleum. Her memorial is modest and understated, offering little indication that she forever changed opportunities for black actresses in Hollywood. Visitors still leave flowers in tribute to the pioneering performer whose influence continues to inspire generations. Perhaps that's what makes Dorothy Dandridge's final resting place so heartbreaking. The woman who opened doors for countless actors is remembered by a quiet memorial that reflects none of the enormous impact she had on American cinema. Only those who know her story realize that behind this simple resting place lies one of Hollywood's true trailblazers, whose greatest recognition came only after she was gone. Number 12. Sal Mineo. Sal Mineo became a Hollywood star before he was old enough to enjoy it, yet by the time he died at just 37, the actor once nominated for 2 Academy Awards had largely disappeared from the spotlight. Mineo rose to fame in the 1950s with unforgettable performances in Rebel Without a Cause alongside James Dean and Exodus, earning 2 Oscar nominations before the age of 25. Many believed he was destined for a remarkable career. But as Hollywood changed, leading roles became harder to find, and he gradually turned to television and stage productions to continue working. On February 12, 1976, Sal Mineo was stabbed outside his apartment in West Hollywood after returning home from a rehearsal. He was only 37 years old. His shocking murder initially sparked widespread speculation, but police later arrested Lionel Ray Williams, who was convicted of the crime. The attack was determined to be a robbery rather than a targeted killing. Today, Sal Mineo rests at Gate of Heaven Cemetery in Hawthorne, New York. His grave is simple and understated, a quiet memorial for an actor who once stood beside some of Hollywood's biggest legends. Visitors occasionally leave flowers and small tributes, but his resting place receives far less attention than those of many of his famous contemporaries. Perhaps that's what makes Sal Mineo's final resting place so heartbreaking. Millions still recognize the troubled teenager he portrayed beside James Dean, yet far fewer remember the gifted actor himself. His modest grave reflects the quiet fading of a career that once seemed destined to become one of Hollywood's greatest success stories. Number 13. Peg Entwistle. Peg Entwistle became famous because of the way she died, not because of the career she dreamed of. More than 90 years later, millions of people recognize the Hollywood sign, yet few know the young actress whose tragedy became forever linked to it. Born in Wales and raised in the United States, Peg first found success on the Broadway stage before moving to Hollywood in hopes of becoming a film star. She secured a contract with RKO Pictures and appeared in the 1932 film 13 Women. But after the movie was heavily edited and her role was reduced, her Hollywood future quickly faded. On September 16, 1932, just days after losing hope of finding more work, Peg climbed to the top of the Hollywood sign, then reading Hollywoodland, and jumped to her death. She was only 24 years old. Her tragic story soon became one of the most enduring legends associated with the famous landmark. Unlike the place where she died, Peg's final resting place is far from Hollywood. She was cremated and her ashes were buried at Oak Hill Cemetery in Glendale, Ohio, beside members of her family. Her quiet memorial stands in sharp contrast to the world-famous sign forever connected to her name. Perhaps that's what makes Peg Entwistle's final resting place so heartbreaking. Millions visit the Hollywood sign every year without realizing the young actress whose dreams ended there. Yet the place where she truly rests remains peaceful, private, and largely unknown. A quiet ending for a woman who spent her final days hoping Hollywood would remember her. Number 14. Aaliyah. Aaliyah's career was soaring when tragedy struck without warning. At just 22 years old, the singer and rising actress had already become one of the most influential young stars of her generation. Yet her final resting place is far quieter than the extraordinary legacy she left behind. After releasing hit albums and starring in films such as Romeo Must Die, Aaliyah proved she was equally talented in music and Hollywood. Her effortless style, graceful performances, and growing acting career suggested she was only beginning to reach her full potential. Many believed she was destined to become one of entertainment's biggest crossover stars. On August 25, 2001, after filming the music video for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas, Aaliyah boarded a small aircraft bound for Florida. Moments after takeoff, the plane crashed, killing all 9 people on board. She was only 22 years old. Investigators later concluded that the aircraft was overloaded and the pilot was not properly qualified to operate the flight. Today, Aaliyah rests at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York, inside the Rosewood Mausoleum. Unlike many celebrity graves that are open to visitors, her crypt is located in a private indoor mausoleum, offering a peaceful place away from public attention. Fans continue to leave flowers and heartfelt tributes outside, honoring a star whose influence remains strong more than 2 decades after her passing. Perhaps that's what makes Aaliyah's final resting place so heartbreaking. A young woman whose career was reaching incredible heights now rests behind closed doors, hidden from public view. While her music and films continue to inspire new generations, her final resting place reflects a quiet privacy that she rarely experienced during her brief but unforgettable life. Number 15. Heather O'Rourke. Heather O'Rourke became one of Hollywood's most recognizable child stars before she was even a teenager. But the little girl whose voice haunted audiences in Poltergeist would never have the chance to grow up. She died at just 12 years old, leaving behind one of Hollywood's saddest child star tragedies. Heather won the hearts of audiences as Carol Ann Freeling in the Poltergeist films. Her innocent smile and unforgettable line, "They're here," turned her into an instant star. As the franchise grew in popularity, many believed she had a long and successful career ahead of her. Everything changed in early 1988. After being misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease, Heather suddenly became seriously ill. On February 1, she was rushed to the hospital, where doctors discovered she was actually suffering from a congenital intestinal abnormality. Despite emergency surgery, she died later that day from septic shock caused by bowel obstruction. She was only 12 years old. Her unexpected death shocked Hollywood and fueled years of speculation surrounding the so-called poltergeist curse, although no evidence has ever supported claims of anything supernatural. Today, Heather O'Rourke rests at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. Her simple granite marker is modest and peaceful, surrounded by many of Hollywood's biggest names. Visitors often leave flowers, stuffed animals, and handwritten notes, remembering not only the child star they admired, but also the young life that ended far too soon. Perhaps that's what makes Heather O'Rourke's final resting place so heartbreaking. She never experienced the struggles of fading fame because she never had the chance to become an adult. Her small memorial stands as a quiet reminder of a future that was taken away before it had the opportunity to begin. The stories of these stars ended far too soon, but their final resting places remind us that fame doesn't always leave behind grand monuments. Some rest beneath simple markers, some behind private doors, and others in places few people ever visit. Yet each grave preserves a life filled with remarkable talent, unforgettable moments, and dreams left unfinished. Which story moved you the most? Let us know in the comments, and if there's another Hollywood legend you'd like us to explore, we'd love to hear your suggestion. Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories behind the lives, deaths, and final resting places of Hollywood's greatest stars. Until next time, thanks for watching.